Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Star Wars Lads. We're back home, ready to talk about Tales of the Empire after our Skywalker Saga marathon that was on May the 4th. That's why you're getting this video a few days late. But we finally got a chance to check out the latest edition, I guess, kind of season 2 of Tales of the Jedi, spin-off of this Tales series about Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss Offee. We're going to give you our thoughts on both storylines and then a score out of 5 at the very end. But before we do so, make sure you're hitting that like button. It helps us out tremendously with the algorithm, and subscribe for more content just like this. We'll be covering every single Star Wars show and book when they release, so if you're interested in different Star Wars stuff, we have coverage of almost all of it. All right, let's get into Tales of the Empire. Tales of the Empire this time starts with Morgan Elsbeth's story, the character first introduced in The Mandalorian Season 2, and then seen mostly in the Ahsoka Season 1. Sanak, what'd you think of the Morgan Elsbeth story overall?
Yeah, initially I thought it was the stronger of the two, but I think it has kind of slipped a little bit for me in comparison to the Barriss story. I think the episodes are good. There is a little bit of a hand waving going around with Pelion kind of being introduced so early on in the story, and the role of Morgan with the TIE Defender loose enough that you can have Zahn be like, oh yeah, they were already working together. They were just like keeping it on the down low. I obviously loved the first episode. It was great to have the Mountain Clan. They've already kind of been reintroduced to canon, anyways. But seeing them, seeing the powers of the mother, seeing that there may be some hints at Morgan not only being a human that's been adopted by the Nightsisters, but maybe the human from that Bug short story. So she can be part of the whole Nightsister tribe, but not necessarily Dathomiri, which I think is some slight confirmation there. So they're working with a lot of different pieces of storytelling here. I definitely really appreciated that Grievous felt like O3 Grievous here. He was just cackling, having fun. Finally, great to see that model from the Clone Wars Season 7's intro be used for once. Second episode was good. I think it is that issue with like, are you like super beholden to the wording in the books and saying that the books are going to have more sway over what the storytelling is here. The final episode, I think, is a little weaker, but it was nice to see the New Republic stuff. It was nice to see Morgan in power and the connection between the second and third episode. Overall, like a solid arc. I don't think I necessarily needed this in the Tales format, but I think I still had fun. I still think there was great action. I think visually, probably the strongest episodes of the six definitely came in some of the Morgan scenes for sure.
I would say the visuals carry the Morgan episodes. I thought finally getting to see Grievous in full power was something I was very excited for. One of my favorite shots in the entirety of Season 7 of the Clone Wars is that shot of Grievous in the prologue of the start of the final arc. And so getting to see him in action, it was worth having these episodes. But overall, I was pretty underwhelmed with the Morgan story. I think Morgan especially is a character that we want to know a lot more about. And the Tales format doesn't necessarily suit that. When you have the Tales format, it does a great job of enhancing characters we know about already, like Dooku, like Ahsoka, and eventually Barriss. But Morgan is a character who has very little stories, basically like the 6th or 7th lead in Ahsoka, and that's her most story that she gets. So getting different parts of her life, especially with how much Morgan's 3 episodes jump around, I felt led to very little payoff. There was not much in that final episode. I think that final episode might be my least favorite episode in the entirety of these tales. It just felt like it amounted to nothing. They contact Bo-Katan at the end, who you only find out if you're watching with subtitles or with credit. You look at the credits. But why Bo-Katan? We know Ahsoka goes to Corvus. What's the connection there? We're not going to find out in this season of Tales. Nothing really crystallized. We don't really have a big arc for the character of Morgan Elsbeth. She kind of goes from point A to point B. It's more of like a different parts of her life. And again, visuals carrying it though, with getting to see Clone Wars Thrawn. I mean, I love this animation style for Thrawn. I think it made his eyes look especially intimidating. I thought that looked great. Rook looked a little bit more like traditional Nogri than he did in Rebels, so I thought that looked nice. Pelion, getting to see more of him, getting to double down that he probably will be a big part of whatever Filoni is doing with the Thrawn adaptation in canon. I'm excited for all that, and there were a lot of interesting things in the Morgan story, but I felt like for her character, what this 3 episode arc does is more just give more questions about how she becomes who she is. Yeah, maybe she's not that interesting or in depth of a character, but then why did we need her arc and Tales? I just felt like this was kind of a missed opportunity. Pretty underwhelmed with the Morgan episodes. But then we have the Barriss episode, so let's talk about that. Barriss Offee, who we haven't seen in 12 years since the end of Clone Wars Season 5. Sonic, what'd you think of the Barriss Offee episodes of Tales of the Empire?
Yeah, I thought they were the stronger ones. I think initially I liked the progression of Morgan's story, and if there wasn't anything major development wise, right? Like you're saying, there were more questions. But the Barriss storyline I thought was good overall. I think a character that really got a lot of development was the fourth sister, first introduced in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then I don't believe she even has like more than one line in that show. So finally having her, Lynn Rakish, have like a name, have a backstory. I thought that was all really good to at least like make use of a character that we've seen but don't really know too much about. But it really is Barriss' story. It is nice to see that she is recruited quite early on, and there with the construction of Fortress Noor, I thought it was pretty curious that the Grand Inquisitor almost has like a little bit of a personal investment in making Barriss into this like Inquisitor. I know that we saw Vader's model, which looked incredible here. I think it was always inevitable that she was going to turn. I was thinking maybe Ahsoka would be involved in these tales of episodes for her, but surprisingly not seemingly directly so. But it really was that third episode that really made it for me. I think the idea of Force Heal has changed a lot from Legends to canon. I know she is originally quite famous for her MedStar duology, which some people love, some people are a little indifferent on. But her role as a healer has always been pretty crucial to her character. '08 Clone Wars really doesn't do anything with that. She's just another Padawan that is a good friend of Ahsoka before she makes this act of terrorism against the Jedi. And I really did appreciate that not only did that final episode go back to her original roots by making her a healer, it also made it pretty clear that she ages by giving away her life force that, help these children, help these people in need. I thought that was a good way of showing that like you can use the force heal. It is powerful, but there are drawbacks. And I also did love her role with the caves with Lynn, how she's been able to like in some ways turn her back or at least make her question her role, that it's not too late. And I know Lynn kept on saying, I can't get out of these caves. Obviously, Barriss was like, I'm talking about your path as a person. Like, yeah, I liked her arc. I think it was one that on immediate watch, I was struggling a little bit because I wanted almost like a Clone Wars esque arc of like 20-minute episodes to really flesh it out. And you can make the argument that her turn back to the light is a lot cleaner than you want it to be in that second episode. Structurally, here, there's enough that you can fill in with books or other media to make that second episode's turn hit quite strongly. And you can definitely fill out the fact that there's like at least a 10-year gap, I'd say, almost between the second and third episode. So there's a lot more possibilities of her meeting with Ahsoka, dealing with the path and all these other things while still having her own separate life as a healer. So I think the arc overall grew on me, and I'm at the time of this recording, I think I like it a lot more than when I first watched it. It is, though, again, the case of if it was a Clone Wars arc, I think this would have been fantastic. Here, I think it's just very solid to very good.
I have a very similar take. I think this arc has a lot of great story and a lot of great character progression for Barriss, a character like you were mentioning with MedStar. A lot of people had a problem with the way she was handled in season 5 of the Clone Wars and how she turns on Ahsoka. But I think this show really proves that it was coming from a good-hearted place. It seemed like that in season 5 of the Clone Wars at the end when she gives her big speech, but these episodes solidify that she's not a dark side user. She is somebody who's trying to survive, but yet still has that heart of a Jedi. She has arguably one of the more pure hearts, just like Ahsoka, and that's why they're paired together in that season 5 arc of one who decided to kind of act on her misgivings with the Jedi Order, and one that ultimately bears the brunt of what the Jedi Order has become, and they've separated. There are some things here in episode 6 that make you think that possibly she is in connection with Ahsoka. She says, send the child to this person. I trust her. This is kind of that typical Tales style storytelling. It goes for more of the Dooku imitation, if you could say that, where it's like it's jumping over different parts of a smaller gap of time. But the thing with Dooku is we already know he turns to the dark side. We already know he's disillusioned with the Jedi before we watch those episodes. So seeing little sporadic moments in his life, we can put the pieces together in our head. With this, we have no idea what happens to Barriss in this time period. And I think so the jumps make it feel a little less congruous than it really should feel. We don't know what happens to Barriss at the end of this episode. If this really is how she goes out, then I think it's kind of a really fast way to kill off Barriss Offee. So that was my only real critique. I love all the story here. I think it plays well across, and I like playing her off of the fourth sister worked really well as well. Overall, I liked Barriss's arc quite a bit for thematic reasons more so than the actual plotting and storytelling. But this overall, I wish was a bit more. Like it just, that's the problem with these Tales episodes. You just want more. And for somehow they did it perfectly with Dooku, and the rest of them all have kind of just felt like, man, just give us a bit more, just a little taste. Hopefully there's more to come in the future. But we're going to give you guys a score out of 5 now for what we thought of Tales of the Empire. Sanak, what would you rate Tales of the Empire?
Yeah, I think I would give it a 3.5, a very light 3.5, because it is that Morgan arc that isn't necessarily great for this format. I think this would have been a great book. But again, it is the Barriss episodes. I think even if you feel like your turn is a little fast and sharp, this is very in line with her character and who she was before her act of terrorism. Balancing that out, 3.5. And I'd say between Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, it's Dooku by far. That arc is super great. Then it's Barriss. Then it's Ahsoka. And then Morgan. I still am a little frustrated by that final episode in the Ahsoka one. The show, this format is working. It's just not maximizing itself quite yet.
I think this format needs to go back to characters we're familiar with. It doesn't have to be the most famous of famous characters. And if you want to do characters we don't know as well, like Yariel Poof in Tales of the Jedi, or some other character that doesn't have a big story, and you want to just tell a small little piece of their history, that's fine too. But I think when you take characters that we want to know more about, and then you only sprinkle in a couple of moments, but those moments span a large amount of time that cover so many important things in their lives, but yet we don't really see the journey, so we don't feel the weight. I don't think that's what the Tales series really should be for. It should either be to enhance characters like Dooku or Ahsoka, or it should be to give a little bit of life to characters that we really know nothing about. I definitely prefer Tales of the Jedi, and it's not just for the Jedi aspect, but I do think the plotting was a lot better across those two arcs. Also, one last little complaint where there wasn't much Empire in this. But overall, I would give this season a 3. I did really like the Barriss arc, and I would have the exact same rankings as you for the 4 arcs. But Dooku's is by far the best, and it is the standard for what this show can be, and hopefully whatever Tales is next, whether it's more Tales of the Jedi, more Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Bounty Hunter, whatever it is, hopefully they can get back to the heights of Dooku. The storytelling is here. It's just a little too sparse in places. So thank you so much for watching this video. Let us know what you thought of Tales of the Empire down below in the comments. Hit that like if you haven't, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and we will see you all next time.